The ag sector is weighing in on President Trump's stance against China's refusal to buy U.S. soybeans. It was earlier this week that he did state he's considering putting a stop on imports of Chinese cooking oil, as well as other trade items. Arkansas Lieutenant Governor Leslie Rutledge joins us now. We do appreciate you being here. Lieutenant Governor, big, strong supporter of President Trump's stance on China and soybean imports. Maybe you can tell us why this issue is so critical, not only for Arkansas farmers, but farmers across the board.
Well, thanks, Suzanne, for having me on. As not only the lieutenant governor, but as a soybean farmer. My husband and I grow and harvest soybeans. This is important, and we live this. We grow it. We are part of the agriculture economy in Arkansas and the country. President Trump was spot on when he said China's refusal to buy American soybeans was an economically hostile act. That's absolutely what it is, and I'm so proud of President Trump for saying that he may withhold buying used cooking oil from China, because buying used cooking oil from China has only escalated in the last few years under President Biden's administration. In 2022, Suzanne, the U.S. was only importing 0.1% of used cooking oil from China. However, it leapt to importing 58% in 2024, from 0.1% to 58%. In just a 2-year swing. That's literally taking America from being an exporter of used cooking oil to being an importer. We were an exporter of used cooking oil up until 2021, where we were exporting 400 million metric tons of used cooking oil. Now we are importing anywhere from 800 million metric tons to 1.2 million metric tons of used cooking oil from China. And we could be growing that. We are actually growing it right here on American farmers. So this is about not just protecting American farmers. It's about protecting our energy. It's about making us less reliant on China. Why are we paying China for something that we're already growing?
Well, listen, I think a lot of people are in agreement with that as well, but I feel like there are some growing pains right now while we figure all of this out. As a soybean farmer, have you felt the impact of these trade tensions on your operation?
Absolutely, we have. I mean, we're feeling the impact of the trade situation, but we're also feeling the impact of one of the worst growing years that we have seen since 1980. We have heard from numerous farmers across the state and the country. Not only are we seeing beans in the teens, we're seeing some single-digit harvest, and that's dangerous. Farmers can't wait another year for help. That's why we need President Trump to stick with this plan, to look at biodiesel as an option, to put more infrastructure, to give those tax incentives, to ensure, again, this is about not just the soybean farmer. This is about American independence. It's about our economy. It's about putting the infrastructure in, investing in more of these crushing plants across the country, turning it into biodiesel. China has consistently put infrastructure, made the long-term play of putting infrastructure into Brazil over the last 15 years to eliminate the need to buy American soybeans. We must put the money and the time in right now into the infrastructure, so that way we are not importing crops from China that we could be growing and using right here in America.
Lieutenant Governor, I'd like to ask you a question, and it's something that we face sometimes here on the network. Critics talking about these tough trade policies, that they could possibly backfire. What do you say to those who argue that these actions could lead possibly to this trade war, higher costs for consumers, and possibly even put some farmers' businesses out of business?
Well, I think the policies of Joe Biden are already putting farmers out of business. This didn't start in the last 6 or 8 months, 9 months of the Trump administration. The numbers I gave you were from President Joe Biden's administration, where his team essentially handed over our soybean market to the Communist Party of China. It's astronomical, these numbers are, and it's decimating the American farmer. And that's why President Trump, who is standing with American farm families, costs are already high, commodities are low. But what we're seeing is that when President Trump and his team acknowledge that rather than buying used cooking oil from China, we could use American soybeans. We're seeing soybeans take that jump that they've been needing for a long time, but now we've got to invest in it.
Lieutenant Governor, great stuff. We do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Arkansas Lieutenant Governor Leslie Rutledge. Again, thank you.